but a little bit about this apparent conflict that might exist. You coming from such a rich background, and we carry this heritage, this millennial heritage, and just having this transition, as Lisa mentioned, from being expected to be a mother at home and cooking for our husbands, towards also, not instead of, probably also, being out there leading entrepreneurs and being part of an active society. So how do you see this apparent conflict? Is there a conflict?
Yes, of course. Thank you, my sisters. I mean, we're all on a journey. I think it's been 10 years. We've been gathering women around the world, almost in every country. We have circles like these, and each time you just come back to what can you do, because if, like Martin Luther King said, if you want to take, go up the steps, you have to just take the first step. If you try to think of, oh my God, I have to climb 365 steps, if you let it weigh on your mind too much, you will become overwhelmed with it. And then you'll have fears and you'll have doubts. And the next best thing in front of you, knowing the enormity of the problem. Even if you have to climb Mount Everest, you still have to climb it. If we are thinking about it too much, so I think everything is in balance. I love the word leap that you used. Indeed, let's make 29th of February 2024 a moment of leap. And I always am very fond of doing that, elaborating acronyms to bigger words, we remember them that way, or kind of abbreviating longer ideas like LGOS. To say, I love doing that, and I leap when I was thinking of the question that you asked. I mean, leadership is a given, and like you said, leadership has two facets. One, of course, leading from the front when times are not so good. You have to be out there. Your people, your family, as a mother, if something is not so right, you have to get bread on the table for the family, you have to lead from the front. Somebody has to go out there and make sure that the job is done. And when things are going wonderfully, letting everybody thrive and find themselves and being at the back like a grandparent and enjoying, right? Enjoying leading from the back. You're invisible, you're not seen, doesn't mean you're not there, but you're manifesting a different kind of leadership. A leadership of love, where there is generosity and space for everyone else to thrive. Like a gardener. You're out there, you take care of the plants every day, but when the garden blooms with flowers, you don't stand next to every flower and say, oh, I'm the one who did this, and you're not in a rush to take credit for it. You're very secure, a very secure kind of leadership, a very sustainable kind of leadership that comes where there is deep roots of love. I love what you said about we're all responsible for each other, and leadership about the other. So we don't want to throw tradition out of the window. There is some beautiful things in tradition, but we don't want to stay stuck there. We want to apply the best of learnings of the tradition to transformation. And in that, the task of leadership is enormous. It's like the engine of the train. It pulls together, takes a lot, but that's why Shakti Bandhan. Sometimes we lose the steam, we lose the energy because we're dealing with so much. But when we find each other in circles like these, and we take time for ourselves, to honor ourselves, to share our stories, to heal ourselves, we find, like when you sleep, when at night somebody comes to you with a email comes at 9 p.m. you're like, oh my God, you're tired. You're tired. You can't deal with even the smallest of issues, but you let yourself sleep like Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Tomorrow is another day. We'll take care of it tomorrow. And you have a good night rest. And you wake up in the morning, you smell the coffee literally, and you're like, I got this. I got this. I think it's cycles, circles. In India also, we look at everything as cycles. We're also into cycles of our own energy. So I think leadership is very important, but what kind of leadership is a conversation we all need to have. I was in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh has had the longest serving female head of state, Sheikh Hasina, who has been more than Indira Gandhi now, because Indira Gandhi's term was cut short because she died in office, but Sheikh Hasina is there and she continues, and a phenomenon. And we had one of conferences like that over there, and the advisor to the Prime Minister, who's a wonderful gentleman, he came and he spoke. And when you are serving a female leader for such a long time, what I loved was that men were very comfortable talking about the leader as a mother, which is not often the case. The mother belongs to the home and the leader belongs to the office. And here, because you have been working with a female leader for such a long time, and you have to find that respect in working with her, and you sublimate that icon, that figure, to the female figure you have the greatest respect for, which is a mother, right? And so she is the mother of the nation, literally. And people refer to her motherly values of care as her strong suit of leadership. Whereas we don't really do that in normal professional context. So that's where what leadership is, the presence of female role models in leadership, redefining what leadership means, that love is not a weakness when added to leadership. It's actually an energizer of what leadership means. I think those kind of things are very combined hand in hand. It's like a chicken and egg situation. You don't get women because you have those barriers, but when you do get women, those barriers begin to shift and change, and we understand leadership differently. But it also comes from legislation. I heard whatever little Spanish I could understand, and what Adriana translated, that 1 in 5 ambassadors are women. So just in Bangladesh, I met the Norway ambassador, and he was a gentleman again. And he said, I have the distinction of being the first male ambassador of Norway to Bangladesh. All other have been women. And that is because of a policy, an intentional policy, a legislation that Norway had, which they started with 40% women on boards as well. And so sort of the legislation played a part in helping change and balance the equation and balance the narrative and balance these conversations and understand leadership differently and make it easier for men to see women as leaders and not see a dichotomy between women's role as mothers, women's, and their leadership in office, but also voices of women to come out. We had a lady who spoke at one of the Women Economic Forum, a conference platform that we have in Mexico also. And I think the book was titled Slate Like a Mom. Like, as a mother, what leadership lesson could you possibly need? You have it all. You're grooming a life, literally, to become a wholesome human being, woman or man. In India, we say your mother is your first guru, your first teacher, your first role model, your first leader. And in my case, it was both my father and my mother, because I always saw a very healthy partnership. So in my head, it was meant to be always that way, that behind a successful woman, behind a successful man was a woman, and behind a successful woman was a man. And they were a team. And there was never this sort of fight between, sorry, I was just realized I've been speaking to the side of the table. There was never a fight between, it was a healthy, seamless partnership and continuity. My mother was working outside, and my father would drop her to the office for 37 years and pick her back in the evening, and it went on. And she would come home, and my grandparents were there, and she would be in the kitchen working, and my father would be helping her with getting the vegetables, boiling the milk, polishing our shoes, ironing our school uniform. It was all a partnership and a teamwork, and I grew up with that. For the longest time, I actually didn't know there were these gaps, till I stepped out into society, and till I stepped out of my sheltered existence, and I realized that when people look at you differently just because of the body that you have, because of the color of the skin that you have, because of notions they hold in their own head. And so we challenge those situations, challenge those notions by excelling. You know, when there are no notions left in anybody's head except of pure excellence. You know, and in that we have work to do. Every woman in this room knows that we have to work twice as hard, or I don't know, 4 times as hard, I don't know what metric to put, to be taken seriously on the table. We may have a seat on the table, but do we have a say on the table? Is our word as one woman equal to the word of one man? Even if we have the vote, which is equal, but do we have a voice that is equal? We don't. So there is a study which says the 30% rule, that for every one man who has a say on the table, you need 3 women to come together and support each other, and then it becomes a say. So it exists. But again, we're on a journey. And we persevere. And our togetherness, our solidarity in the leadership part of it, our individual leadership, a more holistic sense of leadership, collective leadership. So that's the first alphabet of the lead. And the second is empowerment for me, E. In every way, which is in the Logos as well. One full E is dedicated to empowerment, because we need to reach out to each other and bridge the gaps wherever we need them. But we have it all amongst ourselves. So if we were to go out on a picnic, yeah, and we say, okay, 2 hours sisters, we're going on a picnic, everybody get whatever you can. Somebody gets bread, somebody gets water, somebody gets a mat, somebody gets a guitar, somebody gets a song, somebody gets a sunshine, somebody gets a smile, whatever. We make it happen. And we go with the intention of making the most of it. It's not what we have, which is important. But equally important is what we make of what we have, what we are ready to share, what we are ready to enjoy, and what we are ready to help each other with. And we always can. So let's assume that part of it and use whatever our leadership and everything to bridge the gaps in empowerment, whether it's financial empowerment, it is health empowerment, it is mental health, whatever is required to bridge the gap. We go and repair. We go and repair. With whatever is whole in us and whatever is broken in the other, we can. Right? We bring our wholeness and heal. And likewise, we are healed when somebody reaches out to us as well. The A of lead for me is action. Action. We have to take action. How? By doing whatever you can. If I were to fall down right here, what would your action be? To pronounce it, whatever is needed in the moment. A mindset of how can I help? What can I do? Knowing fully well it's no favor to nobody for me to take action, because what I give into the action by the law of physics comes back to me as a reaction. A good positive action will come back to me manifold as a lovely positive reaction or a response from this beautiful universe that is set on these very sustainable laws. But we have to take action, because if we don't, then it's like in a pond of water, it stagnates, we don't find our flow, we are unable to overcome the challenges. Whatever next best thing we can do, we do. But sometimes we want to do it so perfectly, and we are caught up in ideas of shame, and ideas of not being good enough, of ideas of being judged, that those inner barriers become our inner glass ceilings. So we have to smash those inner glass ceilings and say, whatever anybody is thinking of me in their head is their issue, is their life, is their story, not mine. It has nothing to do with me. We have to liberate ourselves from the invasion of our minds by the minds of others, but that's entirely our doing for whatever reason. There are historical reasons for it. I wouldn't blame women for it. I'm not trying to fix women for it. But to also realize, let's reclaim that power. We're taking action in our homes all the time. If we stop taking actions, look at it the other way. What happens to your homes when you stop taking the actions that you do to keep everything in balance, everything in harmony, everybody adjusted, everybody happy? What happens that day when you stop taking those actions? Yes. Yes. Right? But one day, just like the women in Iceland did, in, I think, 1974 or 75.
We did this in 2020. We
Yeah.
did this in Mexico.
Yeah.
One day we got to.
Yeah, one day, just sort of get out and say, okay, what's going to happen, right? So while the world is not going to come to an end, because the world will go on, we will realize what we are doing in excess. Because we also try to hold things in excess because we feel the burden of the world is on our shoulders. It is to an extent because we are, my guru used to say, women, sorry, this is in the room. I know, it can go out as well, just as a joke. He used to always say, women have 7 qualities and men have 3. And those 7 extra qualities have to do with the collective good. Keeping everybody together with a sense of responsibility, with a sense of adjustment, of acceptance, of nurture. I was talking about the different designs, right? So it doesn't mean we are more than them. We are different than them. And yes, we have those things, but sometimes, like everybody else, I mean, this is not a women's issue, this is a human issue. It could be a male issue or female. It's an individual issue. Sometimes we tip the balance. Doing something, we forget to stop. Right? The excesses on the planet that we see are because people forgot to stop. You know, continuing in the name of growth, earning money. We didn't know when we crossed the line of greed. And we're living in greed because we didn't stop ourselves. There's no pushback to stop us. The balance of the world is tippling because we didn't stop doing. And excess of anything is bad. Excess of love is bad. Excess of everything is bad. Because too much of sugar in your tea is bad, too much of salt in your food is bad. A little bit will get your metabolism up, a bit more of it will crumble your bones. So we need to know the balance and the dosage of things. And sometimes we feel that if we finish ourselves, the world will become a better place. You know, we give so much love that nothing of ourselves is left. I have loved that way and I know the folly of it. Right? Because we feel, okay, I'm ready to be absent if that helps you. I'm ready to sacrifice to the extent that you stay. But the universe needs you too. The universe needs you to be on your 2 feet, for you to be strong, for you to give the gift that is meant to come through you. So you have to love yourself and take care of yourself and be strong. And that's why we are here in this moment taking care of each other. The universe doesn't want you to lose yourself. It wants you to manifest the glorious light that lives inside of you. It wants you to reclaim the power of your feminine self and the power of your feminine leadership and know that your voice matters and you matter and you count and you can say stop. Let's say stop when we need to say stop. Let's reclaim our voices for whatever they say and not receive the narratives that we receive, because sometimes we just, in the name of keeping peace, we receive narratives that are around us and we don't speak in our truth, we don't stand our ground because we think that is peace. But there is no lasting peace without justice, without a sense of fairness, without a sense of balance. And we will always hold a certain resentment and a certain discomfort inside ourselves, which will show up as disease in our body because we are doing it so often. Yeah, so first of all, reclaiming our feminine self, not feeling apologetic about being women, not feeling sorry for having a voice, having a mind, and remembering that when you stand up for yourself in your home, in a dining room conversation, or when you stand up for a sister in any professional workspace, you stand up for all of us. Because somewhere you have lifted an obstacle in a space, in the mind of a man, in the heart of a man, in the mind of a woman, in the heart of a woman, which clears the path for all of us. So we are on a journey. We don't want to culpabilize anyone. We have inherited this situation wherever we are in, just as our mothers did, or our fathers did, or a race did. You know, whatever socioeconomic strata you're born in, whatever, we do. So I think with action, we will come into the final part of the leap, which is reclaiming our power. The leadership, the empowerment, the action, and living and standing and being in our power. Secure in our power, a power that is not here to oppress anyone. The power to live as the fullest, beautiful human being, whether in a man's body, whether in a woman's body, that you are meant to be. And each one being unique, reclaiming the right and the power to be unique. Look at nature. If it's a coconut, it is designed differently. Very, fibrous outside, very tender and sweet inside. If you're designed as a bitter gourd, that's your truth. A bitter gourd, it's a vegetable in India, it's very bitter. But it cleanses the system like how? You have it for 3 months and you're free of your diabetes. Right? So reclaiming whatever our design is, whoever we are, knowing ourselves before we can step out and know the world, but that's a constant journey. And reclaiming that power, that's how, for me, we will take that high jump, we will take that high leap and land on the other side of that gap, which is keeping us from meeting, which is keeping ourselves from meeting ourselves. Beyond the leap is us in a better, stronger, bolder design.
Dr. Harbeen, I think so stressing this metaphor.
Yes. I need to thank you for it. I think it's the word of the day.
It's the word of the day. It's a leap day.
Yes. Remember it. Yes.
And you have a room filled of wonderful sisters, and we have the L.
Yes.
Leadership. We have empowerment.
Yes.
This is why we're here.
Yes, what we are doing right now.
Tell us, what is our action? How can we serve you? How can we help you achieve your agenda? Because what you're talking about resonates with us, and we think we can help you with this agenda. So please let us know how we can work towards the A, and how we can use our P, our power, to enhance your
I think
agenda.
action is always to do with initiation. Initiate anything. Initiate anything wherever you are. And know that we are all adding to the same pool, and we are all drinking from the same pool. So whatever you add to it from wherever you are goes to this universal pool, from which I will draw, you will draw, you will draw, Adriana will draw, all of us will draw. So it doesn't matter what you put into it. It doesn't matter whether it's serving my goal or your goal. As long as you feel connected to whatever you are doing, and that's exactly what the Logos is, that serve your agenda. Whatever you feel called to do, because that is where your action will be strongest. That is where you will feel effortless about your action. That is where you will find the power to persevere with your action and continue with it day on day and feel committed to it and feel one with it. Because it's not about someone else, it's about you. And you and someone else are connected through this universal pool. Whatever you receive from the universe, give it back to the universe. This is the universal bank. We're all taking from it and we're all giving back to it. So if we can energize this pool from wherever you are, whatever you feel like initiating, whatever you feel like feeling responsible for, your call to action, and you don't have to do it tomorrow. You can feel it. You can take time to think about it. And but then also just do it. Because sometimes in wanting to do a perfect job, we wait too long, and at the time, sort of goes away. And I like what Mark Zuckerberg says. I know there are not many people who are his fans, but I like what he said about, we just created a platform called She Economy. It's a free platform for women-owned businesses and women-led companies to come and find each other, do business with each other. And he said, even when it's 80% ready or 60% ready, put it out. The rest of the refinement will come from the community which you seek to serve. So even if you have an idea, just the seed of it, put the seed in this universal ground and let it be fertilized and nourished and nurtured and manured by the community itself, by the universe itself, and let it be a discovery or curiosity of what it becomes. Like, wow, people ask me, how did you do all this? And I tell them very honestly, I have no idea. I really don't. I just went step by step, taking action and with commitment and continuing to do whatever next best thing I would do every day. I am a workaholic, so I love to work. I love to get out every day and find myself, something to dig, something to do. I love it. And that's my nature, right? Everybody, like I said, you're a coconut seed, you're a mango seed, whatever you are, everybody has their internal nature. Honor that nature. That nature is part of your purpose because your nature will serve the purpose you are meant to serve. So honor it, reclaim it. Again, don't be apologetic about it. This is my nature. And perfect your nature, like make it better and better, simply doesn't mean just take the obstacles out of it, that's it. It's the via negative of it because something is standing in the way of its fullest expression, right? Just take that out of it and the perfection is always inside of you. It's already given to you. We have a saying in India which says, just like there is sesame oil in that sesame seed, your perfection is inside of you. Just like it's innate. And all you need to do is awaken to it. It's all inside. Extract it and lift the barriers out. And yes, continue working. Action, karma, we say in India. Just do your karma. Don't worry about the result. Don't worry about the outcome. Because the outcome is a factor of so many things in the universal intelligence. Don't try to control the outcome. Because you're limiting it. The outcome could be something very massive, and that's why I say very humbly, I have no idea, because I just put my seed, I just did my work every day. But there is a whole range of factors at work, where some of the sisters who are doing something similar, and things come factor with each other, and a resonance, and they're like, oh my God, and you just stay in awe and admiration, and you just share whatever the fruits of your journey are with everybody to enjoy, because everybody has played some part in it which you have no idea about. Right now we are sitting in a room and we have no idea how many people are responsible for us sitting safely in this room. Mindfulness. Somebody is protecting the borders, somebody is ensuring the food reaches the kitchens, the coffee reaches our tables, we reach each other. So much has happened. For us to be here in this moment, it's a miracle. To be mindful of the miracle of every moment and to be grateful for it, we can access all the power inside everybody and receive it. When I'm grateful to you, you open yourself to me. You trust me. And then I can access all your power and you can access all mine. And we have so much of possibility just inside the two of us right now. Just because we have these open attitudes towards each other. So take whatever action you feel called to, that's what this pool needs, because that will come with purity, that will come with power, that will come in resonance with your purpose, and it will factor in with all the beautiful purposes, and we will all be enriched and energized